Let me read to you a passage from the 13th chapter of St. John's Gospel, verses 31 to 35. It's the Gospel for the 5th Sunday of Eastertide, Year C. St. John writes, "When Judas was gone, Jesus said, 'Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son in himself, and will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now, where I am going you cannot come. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." That's from John chapter 13, verses 31 to 35. What does it suggest to us? Well, it suggests, of course, Christian love, but also the Eucharist. What do I mean? Well, at the point of these words I'm offering now, the epicenter of world strife continues to be the Middle East, and in particular that between Israel and the Palestinians. Within that geographical setting, Islam and Judaism are in continual conflict. Many Muslims, though not all, are hostile to Jews, and many Jews, though not all, are hostile to Muslims. Those of opposite convictions take their stand on the truth as they understand it, and this stand is enforced on their fellows with all the rigour at their command. The result is all too often the denial of human rights with all its social and political turmoil. This, we might even say, is bearing witness to the truth in a spirit of contempt for others. In fact, it is scarcely the spirit of truth at all, and squeezed within all the strife are the Christians. It is said that a complaint against the Christians is that they are too detached, too uncommitted to the cause. That is to say, they are not firmly on one side or other of the strife. They just talk of peace. This is a complaint by some who are active in the hostilities, and indeed it could be said to refer to the typically Christian stance. I have read Christian leaders in the area state that they see the Christian presence as a bridge and as an agent of harmony. While the Christian takes his stand on the truth, he does not regard this as a complete description of his stand. His ideal, even if he often fails to attain it, is to take his stand on the truth, but in a spirit of Christ-like love. On all hands, the absolute significance of the truth is accepted. Each side of conflict intends standing for the truth. Apart from the question of what the truth is, what is consistently forgotten is the divine law of love. The same defect often prevails in countries of peace. Probably the greatest shaper of culture and opinion in modern democratic society is the media, and it prides itself on its freedom to publish the truth. All too often it forgets the law of love, and so what is called the truth, which is often falsehood, is trumpeted before all with little concern for the loss of reputation and harm flowing in its wake. Our Lord came among us with the mission to reveal the truth about himself and his saving mission. His revelation of this divine truth brought down upon himself a tremendous persecution. In our gospel passage that I read earlier, our Lord is giving his parting words to his disciples before going to meet his final moment of bearing witness to the truth. They, his disciples, will have the mission of bearing witness to his truth to the ends of the earth. But here, in his final meeting with them before going forth to suffer and to die, he speaks to them of love. They are to love as he has loved. I tell you now, where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. So it is by their love that all men will know that they are his disciples. It is by our love that people will know that we are Christians. So much is this so, and so well known is it, that in popular language the word Christian often means nothing other than love and kindness, with no reference to the truth of Christ. What the Christian is called to do is to bear witness to the truth of Christ in a spirit of love, the love of Christ. Our witness ought to be a reflection of Christ's witness. And just as Christ was consumed with love for men in the entire witness of his life, so ought we in imitation of our divine Master. Now, and this gets to the further point. We can only hope to do this by being united in a daily and living way with the risen Jesus, from whom has come the command to love as he loves us. This union with Jesus is nourished above all by the faith-filled reception of Holy Communion. Holy Communion increases our union with Christ and with his church. It preserves and renews the life of grace received at our baptism and confirmation, and makes us grow in love for our neighbour. It strengthens us in charity and helps us in our fight against sin. Inasmuch as the Eucharist is Christ himself, it fills us with all heavenly blessings. Most of all, it nourishes in us the capacity to bear witness to the truth in a spirit of love. If we aspire to love others with the love of Christ, as we most certainly should, then we ought receive the Holy Eucharist regularly and with truly pious dispositions. In Holy Communion, we commune with Christ and receive from him a greater share in his own divine life. This divine life is above all the life of love. God is love, St. John tells us in his letter. In entering into union with Jesus at Holy Communion, we receive the capacity to love as he loves. Let us love the Holy Eucharist then, and make it the summit and the source of the entire Christian life, which it certainly is.